Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today we are dealing with haters through the holidays. And I'll just give it a moment and see if anybody's going to hop on live. I'll get this pulled up over here for links. Okay, beautiful. All right, so this topic for me was a no-brainer, and in a few minutes I'll tell you a personal story that really describes why it's a no-brainer for me. But I really recognize, first of all, that for some the holidays are not great, right? I mean, for some of us it is a time of like happiness and joy and being with family and everything's amazing. While for some it's a time of anxiety and loneliness and pain and struggle. And for many of us, we are on the spectrum in between somewhere, right? Like maybe you're on the spectrum where you really love Christmas, but you have a few family members that you really don't want to see, but you know that you have to see because it's just part of the game. It's part of the situation. And, for many of us, myself included, again, quite often this whole situation where we have a family member, and I say family member, but it could be a friend, it could be a coworker at your holiday party, it could be whoever. We have somebody in our lives who is that person we really don't want to see, and they get really down on us. They may be body shamers, they may be really negative, really pessimistic. Chances are, if you're watching this, you have somebody like that in your life, okay? So today, what we're going to do is I had a really hard time narrowing this down, a really hard time. So I have the top 10 tips that I'm going to give you. Some of these are things we've talked about before. Some of them are new, but it's really, really important to begin laying your foundation now so that by the time, in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, whatever, depending on what you celebrate and your personal schedule, you're going to have that foundation laid. Okay, so, I mean, I've been at both ends of the spectrum when it comes to this. I've had amazing years at Christmas. I've had really awful years at Christmas. I've had years where I've had nobody that's negative and I just float through it happily. And then I've had years where it's awful. It's awful. And so I really get it. This is coming from a personal place, okay? I have one person in my life who I have talked about before on video, and they feel like whenever we get together, it is somehow their right to comment about my body. It's almost like a duty, whether I've gained weight or lost weight or whatever. If I have more lines on my face, if I have gray hairs, whatever it is, it seems like they feel like it's their duty to say something about it. Let me tell you, number one, it's not, but they've somehow taken it upon themselves. So a lot of these things are really things that I have practiced myself and continue to practice. So, like I said, I have 10 things. Some of these are bigger, some of these are smaller. But I don't want to be on here forever and ever and ever because it would be so easy to just get carried away with this, because talking about the holidays is a really massive thing. So I want to make sure that we are keeping this short and sweet. If you are tuning in, whether you're live or whether you're on the replay, if you have comments, if you have questions, if you're not sure about something, write it in there. All right. Write a comment below. Let me know. I'll totally be jumping on here and answering questions for the replay as well. Okay. Let's get started. Point number 1. And this is a big one. It's kind of like multiple points. Begin each day with a mindset practice, with some type of checking in with yourself. Now, this could be a meditation. This could be a visualization. This could be something like tapping. Something that is portable that you can take with you. Many people do travel during the holidays, and this is something that you only need yourself. Because what you really want to do, begin each day feeling really calm and really centered. And you want to check in with where you are. And the beautiful thing about starting your day like this is that you can do it anywhere, like I said. And you can do it, for many people, if you have family coming and staying at your home, or if you're in a hotel, or if you're staying with family, you can literally do this. You can wake up in the morning and you can lie in your bed and do this. Or you can get up and sit on your bedroom floor and do this. So I know for many, it's almost like you hit the ground running with stress, especially if you're staying with family. It's like that first second you wake up, you're like slammed with people in your face. This is one of those things that you can do instantly to kind of set the tone, basically. What we want to do is I want you to choose how you want to show up. Set an intention for the day. Now, it's really good, talking about intentions, it's really great right now, as we're approaching the holidays, to set an intention of how you want to show up. Maybe it's a word or it's a feeling or something, but do you want to be happy or balanced or calm or compassionate or understanding? Creating a word, deciding how you want to show up overall, super, super, super helpful. But then every single day through the holidays, through this stressful time, when you wake up in the morning, decide how you want to show up that day. And again, that could be, sit and meditate for 5 minutes and check in with yourself. Or do a visualization. If you don't meditate, by the way, no better time than the present to start. It's really easy. I'm actually going to pop a link in the comments to my favorite app. I use Calm, and there is a free version. You can get a free trial for it. I'm not like an affiliate or anything. I just really love it. So if you've been curious about trying meditation and you don't really know where to start, I highly recommend Calm. You can jump on there. There's a whole bunch of free meditations. You can give it a try. And really, trialing it through this holiday season might actually be the perfect period for you to do it. It may also, again, be a visualization. How do you want your day to go? So how do you want to show up? How do you want your day to go? Set an intention. Or something like tapping. Now, if you don't know what tapping is, I didn't pull the link up. I should have. If you don't know what tapping is, I will pop a link below. Just 1 second. Let me pull it up. Tapping is something, again, you don't need any tools. You only need your hands. It's free. It takes 5 minutes. And you tap on different parts of your body while saying positive affirmations. And you actually can kind of reprogram how you're showing up. It's kind of like, it's acupressure instead of acupuncture, and it's kind of like an emotional acupuncture, if that makes sense. If you're really interested in this, I am going to pop a link below. I've done a whole video on this for beginners. It explains the whole thing. I'm not going to go into it here. That really is a training all into itself. But I'll just get this below. I have everything else pulled up. This is the one thing that I did not get ready, unfortunately. It's all right. There it is. Okay, so if you're interested in tapping, if you want to know more, or you really want to find out how this could be useful for you during the holidays, pop into that link there. It's just a quick little video on YouTube, but it really does show you how it all works, okay? So really, you want to be flexible, right? You want to be understanding with yourself. You want to be understanding with other people. But really, this all comes down to who do you want to be? And sometimes this comes down to taking the high road. So if you're dealing with people who are really negative, really hateful, maybe have a lot of body shaming comments, lead by example. How do you want to be? And maybe show them how they can be. Not like you don't say that to them, obviously, but lead by example, right? And really recognize that in each and every moment, you have the ability to choose how you're showing up. You have the ability to create the experience that you want in that moment. Now, I want to get into a few self-care tips. So these are all things that I recommend you do most of the time, but really around the holidays, way more. All right. Self-care is going to be a massive focus during this holiday season, and it really will help you deal with stressful situations, with negative people, because you are going to be at your best, right? And if you are feeling better physically, mentally, emotionally, you're going to be able to deal with everything a hell of a lot better. So number one is sleep. All right. Most people do not get enough sleep. The average adult needs approximately 8 hours of sleep. So really doing your best to prioritize that and focus on that. I know it's not always possible, not every single day, but do your best and really put some energy into it. Be intentional with your rest and with your sleep. Another self-care tip, stay hydrated. So often, especially during the holidays, your schedule's all over the place. You're not doing your normal thing. If you are hydrated, you will feel physically better. You are going to have more energy. You'll have a clear head. You'll be emotionally able to deal with stuff as it comes up. And you'll just really be more balanced in general. The next one is limit alcohol, and this goes right along with hydration. Again, during the holidays, we are in even more situations where alcohol is everywhere, right? It might be a work party or a family party, or there's eggnog, or, in places where you wouldn't normally drink, like champagne for breakfast. Totally had that. Alcohol is going to be around you even more. So really being intentional about, do you want to have it? Don't just have it because it's there, but really, again, ahead of time, think about it. Do I want to indulge? Maybe you do, and that's fine. And maybe you don't, and get really clear on that. But if you do indulge, I highly recommend just keep it easy, because as soon as you go overboard and you get hungover, all bets are off. You're going to not be emotionally very good. You're not going to feel physically very well. And really then dealing with any stressful situation or any really negative person that comes into your life is going to be like 100 times harder if you have a hangover. The next one is enjoy your food. Okay, we talk a lot about that here, about really not having guilt around food. Again, the holidays is a time where we are surrounded by, number one, sugar, sweets everywhere, cookies and cakes and desserts and really rich food. And maybe you have a traditional roast dinner with turkey and stuff. Everybody has their own thing, but again, be intentional about how you want to show up, how you want your relationship to be with food. That's better. Do you want to be balanced? Do you want to just have it because it tastes good and have a small portion? Chances are you don't want to overindulge, right? Most of us do not. Overindulging does not feel good. It's not the kind of thing that you generally want to really dive into. So yeah, get intentional about how you want to show up with food. Make clear decisions so that there's no guilt. And then really be grateful that you have food. All right. So often food, especially around the holidays, ends up with this whole big negative spin on it. Instead of us just saying, there's so many people in the world that don't have this. They don't have food, right? They don't have a lot of food. If they do have it, maybe it's not healthy. Maybe it's not something they enjoy. So really being grateful for it can completely change your mindset, completely. And if you do overdo it, okay, if it's, after dinner and you have overdone it, then tend to that instead. Instead of just feeling guilty, ask the question, what do I need? What would make me feel physically better right now? Now that might be giving yourself a massage, like a belly massage, honestly, like lying on the floor. That might be doing a little bit of yoga or stretching just to help get your body moving, going for a walk around the block. It might be using some essential oils to help get your digestive system going, right? It might be physically supporting your body through that instead of just layering the guilt on, which is going to do nobody any good ever. The next one is keep moving. Okay, if you have a normal exercise routine or movement routine, do your best to keep it up even with the change of schedules. If you don't have one, it might not be a bad idea to put a little bit of movement in. For a couple of reasons. Number one, again, if you're eating a lot, it's going to help that. It's going to help it all get digested, get moving. Number two, exercise creates endorphins in your body. Endorphins are your feel-good chemicals. So again, dealing with stressful people, dealing with those nasty people, bad conversations, whatever it is, if you have those feel-good chemicals being naturally produced in your brain, it's totally going to help. Totally going to make a difference. And then the next one, and this one of my favorites, gratitude. If you do not already have a daily gratitude practice, I highly recommend it. I recommend this to everybody all the time, but especially through the holidays. Grab a journal, get intentional, set aside a minute each day to write down what you're grateful for. Now, I always say start with 2 or 3 things, but especially through the holidays where you're extra stressed, do 10. Stretch it. Why not? And what we really want to do is, what are you grateful for? And by focusing on what you're grateful for, all that negative kind of BS, you're able to kind of, it doesn't matter as much because there's so much good stuff and you're really focusing on the good stuff. So when I'm talking gratitude, this could be, again, like I said, I'm grateful for the food that's on my table, or clean water, or my house. And I really would encourage you, if you are having struggles with specific people in your life, do your best to write down what you're grateful for about them, or what you appreciate about them. And I get that that's hard. I get it. I really get it. I have challenging people in my life too. But if you can switch it around inside your brain and actively focus on what you appreciate about them, maybe it's that they challenge you so much that you are learning and growing each time you see them, or that you are learning to develop really strong boundaries, or you are grateful that they make somebody else in your family happy, even if that person is not you, right? So if you can focus on the good stuff, focus on what you're grateful for, it really will help drown out a lot of the other negativity. The next one is support your emotions in whatever way you need. Now, many of us already have some sort of emotional support system in our lives. And what I'm talking about here is, so for me, for instance, essential oils, massive. I use them every day. I use them for emotional support all the time, whether I'm feeling happy or sad or down or depressed or anxious or whatever. I use my oils to help me through that. Another one is crystals. I have one right now, but I have, I have selenite, which is great for cleansing energy. I have rose quartz, which is great for love, self-love, or love for others. I have some in here that I don't even know what they are. Grab a crystal. Maybe that's something that could help you. Put it in your pocket. Carry it with you. If none of this is your stuff and that's a bit too woo-woo for you, that's cool. Maybe it's just talking to a friend. Maybe you connect with somebody, and it might be somebody in your family who was at the same gathering having to deal with the same challenging person or people, or maybe it's a friend on the other side of the country, and you just say like, hey, I have this thing. I really know that I'm going to need to vent about it. Can you be my support system? Can I text you when I'm at the party? Can I give you a call when I get home? Can I have this, right? Like I said, whatever your emotional support is right now, make sure that you have that in place and use it. Really use it, whatever that is. The next one is boundaries. right? Creating boundaries, but also really just recognizing like you're an adult and sometimes avoiding somebody is totally a good tactic. Totally a good tactic. If you're at a party and somebody comes up to you and they start talking and you're like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't like bad vibes, negativity. Maybe they're shaming you. Maybe they're commenting on you and you just don't want that in your space. Then don't. I gotta go grab another drink. I gotta go grab some veggies from the buffet. I have to go to the bathroom. Right? Like you can actively avoid people, not all the time, but making that choice and choosing who you are around and who you want to exchange energy with is definitely a tactic that is useful in a lot of situations. I can give you an example. I have a challenging person in my life, the same person who always thinks that it's their duty to comment on my body, on my weight, on my size, on everything. And this person is also loves talking about politics, loves it, and has completely opposite political views to me. Now, I've known them for a long time. We've had many discussions. We've had arguments. We've not talked about things for a long time. We've talked about things, but just last year we were sitting and we were having a conversation about politics. And again, this could be very useful at any gathering, especially over the holidays. And we were having a conversation about politics and they were just going and going and going and going. And they're that kind of person where nothing I say is right. And, my opinion is not valid. I've been told my opinion is not valid. And at one point I had tried all of these things. I'd tried leading by example. I'd take a few deep breaths and I'd centered myself and I had literally set an intention of how I wanted to show up before that. And eventually I got to the point where I physically had to hold my hand out and I said, stop. I don't want to talk about this. This is not going anywhere. You are not going to change my opinion and I am not going to change yours. We are not talking about this. And they just went, oh, no, wait. And I said, no. Enough. Stop. And though that may be harsh, in that situation, that was literally the only thing that I could do to stop, to make it stop. And then when that stopped, I got up and I physically left because that was clearly a negative situation that I did not want to be a part of. Right? So, like I said, limit time with people if you can, walk away. You might have to physically create those boundaries. Like I said, like stop. And again, this could be really useful if you have somebody else in your family who kind of gets it. Maybe you have a partner or a sibling or somebody and they're like, oh man, that person again. Oh yeah. Talk to them ahead of time and just, if I really need help, can I like give you a signal or wave you down, like flag you down, like Mayday, come help me. Because really having that support system in the moment can be super, super helpful as well. Another great thing that I love for this is to visualize a shield. Now, I've heard some people talk about this as if it was like a turtle shell. What I like to visualize is light. So I'm a very visual person. And I'm very aware of energies. It's just how I am. So what I really like to picture is coming from my core, from my solar plexus, which is like your center of your power, basically. I picture this golden, like this white, golden, bright, hot light that glows from there and almost surrounds me like a bubble. And I like to refer to this as like, it is like a shield. It's like a love shield almost. And really going into a space, this is part of setting your intention in the morning. And creating that and going into a space and just knowing that you have this energetic shield around you. And either people are going to be repelled for it, or if they do come at you, you are just going to be throwing so much love at them and so much positivity that even if you do have a negative interaction like that, you can walk away and go, I'm good. I've still got it. And whether it's real or not, or whether it's just the placebo effect, I don't even care. I've been doing that for years, and it totally works. It totally works. All right. It can really make a big difference in the moment. If you know that, basically, you know that you've got your own back, right? You've prepared for this. You've talked about this with yourself, right? In that meditation or that visualization, and you can do it. And one great thing that I really love when it comes to handling your own energy is posture. Now, this is one of those things that is powerful, and it's a lot more powerful than many people realize. And that, it can look like a lot of different things, but if you think about it, many of the people in your life, at least in my life, many of the people who are going to be that negative person, that critical person, that person who drags you down, they're going to have that very domineering personality, right? They'll walk into the room with their head held high and, chest pushed out and this and this and this and this, and they're really kind of in your face. And quite often when we are on the receiving end of that, it's kind of natural to you fold up on yourself. And that can literally be like a hunch in your spine, head down, maybe you cross your arms. And that's almost like admitting defeat. And it's like, I want to be small. I don't want to see you. I don't want to deal with this. And though sometimes that works for certain people, other times you've got to meet power with power. You've got to stand up and create your own space. And that one of the easiest ways to do that is to change your body. Instead of slouching, sit up tall, shoulders back, put your chest out. Open your heart, open your throat, and just change your body. And it's really incredible when you change your physical stance, how your energy changes, how people will change their perception of you. It's incredible. It's really important to understand, though, when you do that, that might be triggering for some people. Because if you have somebody else in the room who is quite a dominant personality, and you've always been kind of meek and quiet and folded up, and suddenly you stand up and you are tall and you are proud and you are speaking your mind, they might not know how to take you. And they might just be scared off and not speak to you, which would be great, which is what we hope for. Or they might challenge you, in which case you've got to know that you're allowed to retreat, okay? You're allowed to go, oh, maybe that didn't work with this person. Maybe the situation wasn't quite right. Or maybe I got this. Maybe I do got this. Maybe I can stand up. Maybe I can be strong. And the last tip, which I think is so important, is this too shall pass. The holidays, the Christmas season comes around once a year. And this too shall pass. Hopefully you do not have to see this negative person or negative people all the time. Maybe only at Christmas or only at major holidays. And really just remember that this is not forever. That even if you are having a difficult, if you've done all of this and none of this works, sometimes shit just doesn't work, and that's the fact. Remember, it's going to pass. It's one day or one weekend or 1 week or, depending on your holiday. And then it'll go. And then you can move on with your life, surrounding yourself with the people that you really want to be surrounded by. So really, what I want you to take away from this is prep ahead of time. Start thinking about this now. Get really conscious about it. Get really aware about it. Decide how you want to show up in general for the whole holidays. And self-care. And self-care is not a sporadic thing. It should not be an emergency situation thing. Self-care should be a daily activity. And if you can start it now, start reinforcing your resilience now. Start taking care of your mental and your emotional and your physical health now. When you're in that situation with that challenging person, that, negative, shaming, whatever person, you're much more able to deal with it. So I would really encourage you, like I said, start doing some work now ahead of time. So this would be like boosting your self-care. This might be buying a journal and starting a gratitude journal practice every day. This might be getting some essential oils that are going to support your mental health, your emotions. This might be, meditating. Click through on that Calm app. This might be beginning a meditation practice daily or even a couple of days a week. This might be trying out tapping. But I really want to encourage you, get this started now. Get intentional now. And that way when the holidays come and you are in that stressful situation, you've already taken so many steps that you have built a really solid foundation for yourself. So no holiday season is going to be without stress. Most of us in some capacity have to deal with negative people. But if you really focus on yourself, you focus on your energy, you lead by example, you take care of yourself, dealing with the haters, dealing with those negative, shaming type people gets way easier. All right. And remember, this too shall pass, right? Okay. So, as usual, if you have, I know I said it before, it's good to say it again. If you have comments, if you have questions, if something I said didn't make sense to you, if you need to know more, comment below. Let me know. I will, of course, be jumping back on here and answering all of those as they come up. Have a beautiful day or evening or morning, depending on where you are in the world. And I'll be seeing you soon.